Welcome to Tyromper's No Limit Podcast.
What is going on, you beautiful people out there? This is Tyromper's No Limit Podcast, episode number 28. You guys know I'm always fired up, but today we are especially fired up, man. We got the man, the myth, the legend. We got my buddy here, Mr. Yaakov, joining us all the way from the Holy Land of Israel. We're really appreciative of him coming on today. This is a man that was tired of feeling second-rate, low energy, and with one committed decision said, you know what, guys, I'm going to change my life and go a different direction. And he did that a couple of years ago. We're going to get his take on that today. This is a man that now coaches and helps other men to do the same thing that he did. This is a man I've connected with on social very early on, since we both had maybe 100 or a couple hundred followers. I've just loved interacting with this guy all the time. I consider him a great brother and a friend and a guy that I really look up to and admire. Welcome to the pod, Mr. Yaakov. Thank you for coming on, brother.
Thanks for having me. That's one heck of an introduction.
I always try and do the intros big, man. I get fired up. You know how, and I also just came from a workout with 5 other Twitter guys like an hour ago. So the hair's a little messy today, guys. We were doing bear crawls and wind sprints, but you know what? You got to get after it sometimes. So
yeah.
So for anybody who might not know you, Yaakov, can you kind of give us maybe just like that 2-minute introduction, man? Tell us who you are, what you're about.
Sure. So I'm originally from Seattle, but I immigrated to Israel about a little over 5 years ago. And a few years after I moved here, I started getting into fitness, and I just, I wasn't ready for like the mental transformation I was going through. Like once I started getting in shape, I thought it was I really just started off just to, just look better basically. And then once I discovered like, oh, I feel better, I feel like way less depressed and all that, I was like, why do people not talk about this? So I became a trainer and I also realized like I'm really good at this also. And I love talking about it. I'm very passionate about it, obviously. So I thought like, I'm going to become a trainer and, help guys make this my career and, raise awareness about it in my community and all that. So, and now I'm a coach and I'm loving it.
That's amazing, man. I love that. So yeah, a couple things to dive into there. Number one, I think that's why most of us start out with fitness, right? Like I was coming off of a bad breakup, divorce. I weighed 149 pounds and I thought, you know what? I'd like to make my body have some muscles on it and I'd like to look better. But I didn't really know that actually, man, that now if I got no physical benefit from working out, I'd work out every day because it's more for the mind, for my spirit and things like that. So you kind of had that realization as well pretty early on.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like I said, I really wasn't expecting to like feel way better about myself.
Yeah. Well, can you kind of walk us through that journey? So you grew up in Seattle, you said, right? You went to school here in the States?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I actually wasn't like, I'm an Orthodox Jew, observant Jew. I wasn't observant growing up. That I started becoming more observant like high school. It was like a very slow but steady journey into, finding God and all that. So, but yeah, I was always like, I was definitely a fat kid growing up. And then, so, I remember being teased for being fat and, all that bad stuff. But then in high school, I was still like kind of chunky, but like I kind of had a growth spurt in the middle. So like I kind of thinned out a little bit in a way. So that was kind of nice, but I was still like kind of chunky. Then after high school,
were you working out at all or doing any, like in high school, did you play sports or work out or nothing like that
at all?
Yeah.
I was just playing video games all day. Are you kidding? Like any teenage boy. Anyway, yeah, so after high school, I came here to Israel to spend a year or so in it's like a religious seminary for men. We call it a yeshiva. It's very typical in the Orthodox and like modern Orthodox community that once you graduate high school, you come here to Israel for like a year or 2 years or so. So when I came here, I started getting a little more into exercise. Like I was just like running a few times a week. So nothing crazy. I wasn't like really watching what I eat, but like I was like, okay, like this is a good way to like blow off steam and stuff. And I kind of carried that through college as well, where, I was running a few times just more like I was just like really stressed. And then I would just like, blow off steam by going on a run or something, which, is nice.
Just using exercise as sort of an outlet.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Then, after I moved here, I can't remember when exactly. I think it was like 2 years or so after I moved here. I was like, I want to get more muscular. I want to, I wasn't feeling the best about myself at the time in various areas. So I'm like, okay, maybe I can just hone in on this one thing that I want to improve on, just like getting in better shape. and I can work on that and just like see where it goes. So I hired a coach because I had no idea what I was doing in the gym at first. Um, when it came to nutrition, I just did a deep dive into learning all about it, and like through trial and error, figuring out what works best for me. And, eventually I started like seeing progress. I started like feeling more muscular. I think the turning point was a friend of mine was visiting here, and we met up one day, and he just like looks at me and goes, "You're huge, dude." And I was like, "Yes." And I didn't tell him before. So it's like, it's not like he was saying it just to be nice or something, but
Yeah.
uh,
It's always nice to get that external validation. I feel like that's how it starts, though. You start with
that's right.
something
Yeah.
inside you want to change. And then, you can start to notice those differences maybe 30, 60 days in. But then a few months later, 6 months later, you start to look like a different person. You start to feel like a different person. That's the beauty of exercise and working out and really caring a lot about what you put into your body. That's
Mhm.
amazing, man. So you're starting to make that transformation then. And you take that deep dive into nutrition. Can you talk about what that looked like for you? A lot of trial and error.
Um, so, so like basically I didn't know much about it, but I was just doing a lot of research. But it's like I was like, okay, this one guy's saying one thing, but this other guy's saying something like kind of different. So I was like, what the heck is like do I do? So I talked to a close friend of mine who was a personal trainer at the time, and I just got some advice from him. Just like protein every meal, burn more calories than you are consuming, etc. So I just did that, and um, at first, actually, no, I remember. At first I was just like bulking up because I didn't care about getting lean. I just wanted to get muscular. So I got kind of big. I was like 190 pounds at one point. And then eventually I was like, okay, like I can this. I want to challenge myself. I want to like get more lean. So then, um, like when I was bulking up, I was just eating a lot of like protein and stuff and a lot of food in general. But then suddenly I was cutting. I was like, oh, I just eat a lot less basically and move a lot more. So I did, and I got down to 160 pounds. So and
Cut 30 pounds, man, and then still looking lean. That's the way you like it, I suppose. But
yeah,
I think you said something really important there that I like to touch on is, you know, there's so much information out there, right? Like I could probably Google right
yeah,
now on just nutrition advice and get 1,000 things. Some people tell you eat 6 meals a day. Some people tell you don't eat fast. Some people tell you eat
yeah,
all meat. Some people tell you be vegetarian. And what you said a little bit ago, I want to touch upon, you said you got to find what works for you. And so, a lot of
exactly.
trial and error, and I've done a lot of that myself. And I always tell clients this and always tell other people this, that what works for me might not work best for you, right? What works for you might not. So it's a lot of that trial and error process. Can you kind of talk about kind of what you went through on that trial and error and kind of, where you've landed now?
Yeah. So I remember that one of the first like suggestions I got was intermittent fasting. And it's great. It works great for a ton of people. For me, I was just like kind of cranky in the morning if I didn't have like eggs or something inside me. So, I did it for a while, and after like a couple months, I'm like my morning, I was just feeling kind of low energy in the morning. So I'm like, okay, I don't think this is working for me. So and at first I felt like kind of bad, like, oh, everyone else is doing this, but like I'm not doing it. But then, you know, I, you know, I went on Twitter, or I can't remember when I got Twitter exactly, but eventually I got Twitter and I saw like, oh, these guys, they eat breakfast. So like it's fine. So that's when I realized like, oh, just everyone has a different uh, you know, approach to it basically.
Yeah, and you got to find what works for you. I always kind of joke around that, and I love that you tried it for a couple months too. It's not like you tried it 2 days and then you're like, oh,
Yeah,
this
no,
isn't
for
for me.
sure.
And now I'm going to try low carb. And I tried that for 3 days. And now I'm going to try keto. Now I'm going to try. It's like you got to
Yeah.
try a couple months and then you assess yourself and you see, hey, I maybe like this aspect of it or I don't like that aspect of it. I kept a food journal for a couple weeks one time where I just wrote my energy levels from 0 to 100
Mhm.
after I would eat. And I didn't really change any foods, but that led me to giving up like I'm embarrassed to admit this, man, but I used to eat Lucky Charms for breakfast every single day, man. I have two massive, and I thought it was healthy. It said heart healthy on the box, but it turned out, man, an hour after I was eating that, I was really hungry again. The sugar crashed. I was low energy and cranky. And so kind of led me to self-discovery and giving that up. So I kind of like how you said that. You got to kind of find what works for you. And just because it works for some guru on the internet doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you.
Yeah. And that also came to like learning how to fit in foods I enjoy that might not be the healthiest. Cause like,
Mm.
some people can just like 100% get off, pizza and all that. And like, that's great. I wish I could do that. But like, I get those cravings sometimes, and just like learning how to fit that in also and not like feel guilty about it. That was also like something I had to go through.
That's a great topic and one I'd love to hit on, Yaakov. So, because a
Sure.
lot of people will say that, and I see this a lot of guys, they'll do perfect for a month, right? But then they'll
Mhm.
have that cookout, and dude, they'll eat the 7 hot dogs, the chips, the cookies, the bread, and then that leads them to spiral, completely fall off the cliff. But what you said was a lot of wisdom, where you kind of learned to put some of those things into your lifestyle. How did that work for you, and what was your kind of approach around that?
Yeah, so I think this segues into another topic that we were probably going to talk about soon. But basically, every Friday night to Saturday night is the Sabbath for us, or Shabbat as we call it.
Okay.
And basically, the normal custom is that like you get invited out to someone's house or something, or someone hosts you for dinner and lunch or whatever, and they usually have just like really, really good, delicious food. And I remember when I was like trying to slim down, there was like a couple times I like turned down like invitations because I was like, oh, I can't go here because I'm gonna overeat there and then ruin all my progress, etc. So I would eat by myself, and that got lonely, obviously. Um, so then I realized, okay, this isn't working, and I needed to go back to the drawing board for a second, like be like, okay, how can I fit this in without, uh, you know, uh, having it ruin my progress, basically. Um,
So you made it so sounds like fitness and nutrition works for your lifestyle instead of your, because I see some people who are kind of like a slave to it, right? It's like, I
yeah.
have kids, man, and like, dude, I eat pizza. We have a family pizza night every week, and I won't give
Mhm.
that up. And sure, I can maybe a percent less body fat if I didn't do it, but to me, like the juice is worth the squeeze, and I do fitness so that I can have a better life. Like I'm not going to be a professional athlete. I just want to maintain a healthy, energetic, great lifestyle. And so
Yeah.
fitness kind of helps me reach that. And I think that's where some people get lost is you don't have to be perfect, right? Like
Oh,
what are
yeah,
some of
for
your
sure not.
go-to cheats, man? Like that you kind of build in?
Basically, there's a pizza place near me that I go to sometimes, and instead of getting like ordering a whole pizza or whatever, because I'll like just get like 2 or 3 slices, and that just like that gets my fix, and it doesn't make a huge impact on my progress and all. So
Nice. So you just kind of build that into your every week routine, something you can like look forward to.
more or less, like sometimes, like usually that's like Saturday night, but like sometimes I'm just like not in the mood. Like this past Saturday night, I just wasn't really in the mood for pizza, so I just didn't have it. So it was just kind of nice, but
But you also said something too that's important. You don't feel guilty if you're having a few slices. And I think that comes from probably most of your meals. Do you meal prep? Or you pretty much like on point what you're eating throughout the week? And then you don't mind, because I'm pretty 80-20, right? Like
yeah.
80% of my meals I'm going to eat really, really clean and perfect. And then 20%, it's the pizza. It's, last night my wife and I went out for a date and I had a
Mhm.
big pound of Mongolian beef and rice, and a dessert,
Yeah.
I don't feel guilty
Um,
about it. I enjoy it.
yeah. So like I said, Friday night to Saturday night is like my off day, quote unquote. So I just make sure to be, pretty rock solid for the most part, Sunday through Friday. So, I mean, if I'm going to like, let's say a wedding in the middle of the week, like there's going to be great food there. Like, I'm not going to, say like, oh, I'm not going to eat anything at the wedding. Cause like, I'm just,
Right.
I want to enjoy myself. So, there are exceptions obviously, but like on an average, Monday or Tuesday, like today, like I'm not gonna, I have to be like, okay, I'm not gonna like order a pizza or something or get takeout. So
Yeah.
I tell my clients like obviously special events will come up or holidays, whatever, and you deal with it when it comes to then. But like just like on average days, which is like 90% of days for most people, you just have to be like rock solid in that regard, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
And you kind of make it a lifestyle, right? It's not like this one big, like, oh, we're gonna eat perfect a few days, but then we're gonna go off the rails, like that I because I did that for many years in my own life where I yo-yoed up and down. I see a lot of people yo-yo up and down. And then I really found that just making it like you said, hey, I look forward to that pizza night every week, man. Me and my daughter have ice cream every week too, and I look forward to it and I enjoy every bite. But I think I'm allowed to do that because I don't go off the rails on these other areas, right? Like I do eat clean on 80% of my meals and days, I think that
Yeah,
kind of sets
exactly. I'm kind of the same way. Like I said, Shabbat is like a day that's like it's definitely harder to because like I can't, measure or anything. And like if I go to someone's house, I'm not gonna like be rude and be like, well, I can't eat any of this or whatever. So
right.
um yeah, what I do is like on Friday, I know I'm going to have a big dinner that night, so I just don't eat a whole lot on Friday, basically. Not fast necessarily, but just like, keep my calories light, basically. So then I get to dinner and, I feel like I've earned it, basically.
Yeah.
That's why I tell my clients, it's like, you work hard, or you stick to your eating schedule, Sunday through Friday, then you get to the weekend and like you kind of earn it, quote unquote. That can be taken the wrong way, obviously, where like, people like stuff themselves or whatever, but in general, I found that approach like works with me and a lot of my clients and all. So yeah.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Well, you mentioned something else I want to get into, if that's cool. And that's, you said, we've talked a little bit off stream too. And you said, I kind of wasn't really practicing in my faith much growing up. And then there's kind of a light bulb moment maybe where you kind of leaned into that faith. And now would you say that's the guiding force in your life? Like the biggest thing that centers you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's what brought me to living here in the first place, to be honest. But yeah, growing up, like, our family like celebrated like the major holidays, but we didn't like keep kosher and we didn't observe, the Shabbat and all. So um, I ended up going to a Jewish high school, and I was like part of a Jewish youth group there that's like about getting kids like more in touch with Judaism, like getting them more observant, whatever it is. So I became part of that, and I was like participating in all the events, and I don't know, I was just like at the time I was just like really starting to struggle with like being happy and like I don't know, I was just like depressed a lot when I was when I was a teenager. So eventually it kind of hit me like I need to make a lifestyle change. And I was at a Jewish high school, I was in this youth group already. So I'm like, maybe there's something to this. Maybe there's something to Judaism, and like maybe I can just like give it an honest shot. And I got nothing to lose from doing that and everything to gain. So I did, and it was the best decision in my life. Yeah, it was a very slow and gradual process because it's like just a major lifestyle change. It's not just like a mindset thing, but it's also like it impacts like everything I eat, and every Friday night to Saturday night was like I like can't go out and do stuff. So it was definitely a challenge, and being in a home where the rest of your family isn't observant makes it also more challenging. But I had a lot of very supportive friends in my community who really helped me out. Um, my parents were and my brother were very supportive of the whole process. They were very perplexed at first because they were like, they just like never saw me like going down this path. But yeah, like I said, I took it one step at a time, and I didn't really rush anything. And eventually I just decided like this is something I want for the rest of my life. And that led to me in my senior year of high school deciding to attend one of these religious seminaries for men here in Israel for a year or two. So,
Nice.
and yeah, my parents just saw I was like much happier, and I felt like more fulfilled in my life. So they were happy because I was happy, basically.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. And I know you kind of alluded to, you felt like you're kind of struggling or maybe missing something back then, and one thing that I've always really appreciated about you, my man, is like you'll share a lot of your struggles on social and say, and I do think, we talked a little off stream, but I do see some of these accounts, not to talk shade on anybody or whatnot, but they just,
Yeah.
I got all the answers, buy my book and I got all the answers. And it's like, dude, we're all human beings here. We all struggle. I have tough days. You have tough days. And I think I resonate a lot with other people who share their struggles, and has that been kind of a choice that you made early on when you decided to share on social and whatnot? Hey, I'm going to talk about the good times, how I overcame some of the hard times. And even sometimes now that I'm struggling, like I'm going to share all that.
Yeah. So I I definitely share more on Facebook, as you've seen, because like it's really hard for me to like break that down into tweets for whatever reason,
Yeah.
even like a thread.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've had times in my past, even before all this, before I got into coaching and stuff. There are times I, spoke publicly about what I was struggling with. Like during college, I was actually on a panel about like, mental health awareness, which I actually rewatched the video from it, and like I don't regret speaking, but there's like some things I said there where it sounded like what I was dealing with like an inseparable part of me, whereas like me now, it's like, no, it's not a part of me. It's just something I dealt with, and that I overcame, thank God.
Awesome. I also think right there, that's cool though, because I look back on things I probably did a few years ago and sometimes you got to cringe, man, that you're growing,
Yeah.
like that's part
If you're not cringing at your past self, you're not growing.
exactly, man.
Yeah. But as far as being open, I don't know. I just like the first time I did it, I was like super nervous about like, just putting yourself out there. But I remember I got like 5 messages from guys who are like, oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one like dealing with this, or I thought I was the only one like feeling like this. And I noticed like pretty much no one really criticized me. I've gotten a few pieces of criticisms over the month, but whatever, they don't count.
We just ignore those and stay winning, man.
Yeah, basically. There's actually a guy a few months ago, I think it was like 3 or 4 months ago. He really like put something out there. I was like, hey, and he like put something out there about himself, and I was like, hey, and I messaged him privately. I was like, hey, like that's really awesome, and like I put myself out there too, and like that's really cool that you're doing it. He messaged me. He goes, you actually inspired me to do that. I was like, whoa, really? I was like, so, and this is a guy who, as far as I know, wasn't like commenting or liking on any of my stuff, but he was like reading everything I was saying. So
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, what is?
That's amazing.
I didn't know I was having that kind of impact on people.
Yeah, to know you're having that. And that's what I think a couple points here where I think is really big is like, okay, number one, men especially, and I can't really speak on women. I don't know how their brains work. I just try and study the one, my wife. But for men especially, I think we're kind of taught that, you bottle that stuff up. You don't talk about it. You just kind of grind through, you plow through. And then like the mental health piece isn't really a thing. You just grind and you just keep going. And then once I've started to open up and really share some of these things like you have, man, I've realized, leading retreats and stuff like, dude, every guy shares these same struggles. And we can't heal from them if we don't talk about them. We can't grow through them if we don't put them out in the open. If we just keep pushing them back, then I think what often happens is, the people that are closest around us, our wives, our kids, our coworkers, whoever that might be, they take the brunt of it because we've never healed from it. So when we snap at them or we do this or that, it's because we haven't really processed through it. We haven't really gotten through it and healed ourselves.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Where I don't know where like the stigma comes from exactly, but being open, it's only made my friendships better. Like I just feel like I can be more me, I guess. I feel because like feeling like you don't have anything to hide is just like it's a really great feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's even created new friendships. Like there are guys who reach out to me who like I was acquaintances with, and they're just like, wow, I really love your content, and now like they're like good friends of mine. So
That's amazing. And I think that's cool. As you grow, you kind of attract those new people, it's
yeah,
like
people really get attracted to that like kind of energy that you bring, that you're just like you're here, you're authentic, and you're being you basically.
That's right.
As cliche as it sounds.
Life's a lot like a mirror, I think. Like you get back what you put out, and so if you're going to put that out, you're going to attract people back to you that are kind of like that. And I notice all my friendships now are much, much deeper and more. We're not just talking about how the Bulls did last night and like complaining about our wives maybe and having a beer. Like that was my relationships with guys up until 4 or 5 years ago. And now it's, well, heck, just an hour ago, man, like right before this podcast, dude, all of us guys are arm in arm praying together, and we're, talking about being great men and going out and leading and doing all these things. Those are the kind of relationships I want to build, but you have to put yourself out there to
yeah, for sure.
get those. So you said it was a little bit scary at first. Can you kind of talk about maybe some of those early times and how you overcame that?
Yeah, it's just like people think of you as one way, and I don't know, it's like kind of scary, I guess, to like say something that'll make them think of you as something else, basically, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's like nervous because like, it's the internet, and you can say something to one person and that's, whatever. But when you put it out on the internet, like hundreds of people are reading it, it's just like, whoa. But like I said, 98% of the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. And, I get private messages from guys all the time saying like, thank you for talking about this. Cause like, nobody else does. I had one guy reach out to me and he said, like, because of you, I'm seeing a therapist for the first time. Like he just like, he went his whole life without like knowing how to express what's on his own mind, like when he's feeling troubled. And, it means a lot to me to know I'm having that kind of impact on others.
That's amazing, man. That's what life's about. And then I think also that ripple effect, hey, if this guy heals, And then who does he affect? And then who does he affect? And then who does he affect? And that, to me,
Exactly.
that's how we change the world, is by sharing. But I kind of remember the first time I made like a Twitter video, man, like just have a great day, like a positive, like trying to put myself out there a little. I mean, dude, I must have watched this thing back 70 times, and I so critical of myself, and you're so scared to kind of, what are other people going to think? And then you just kind of lose that after a while. I think it's just like the weights or anything. The more you do it, the better you come. The first time I went to the gym, I didn't know what I was doing, man. I had to have somebody just help me and show me around. I didn't know, but the same thing with sharing on social. Anybody who might feel that tug or pull that, hey, I want to put that stuff out there too. Hey man, there's nothing special about me. There's nothing special about Yaakov. It's just, we just decided one day we're going to probably be afraid, and that's okay. And maybe feel uncomfortable, but that's how we grow. We're just going to keep doing it and put ourselves out there and grow. So I would urge anybody that's listening to this, man, do you feel like you're called to kind of share that too, that message, and put it out there? Just be you.
Yeah. I mean, it's your decision about whether like put it online on social media, but definitely at the very least, like find people like you can, close friends, family, whatever, to like share what's on your mind, so that you don't, because like bottling up is just like, it's really just not healthy in general.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Men need community, man. We need a tribe. And I think also in today's day and age, like it's never been easier to find, but you have to seek it, right? Like it's not just going to happen organically.
Sure.
You got to go
Yeah,
get
that's kind of that's basically what brought me to like Twitter and like meeting you and all these other people that we both know.
it.
Like I have like a wonderful group of friends here, don't get me wrong, and they've been 100% supportive and think what I do is awesome. But it's nice like connecting with guys like you who are just like constantly like just like putting themselves out there and stuff. And that's, like I said, like people get drawn to that kind of energy. So yeah.
Likewise, brother. That I feel like our community on Twitter is so special, man. Like, I've probably
Yeah.
met, I would say well over 200 people now offline, off Twitter. Even we had our kids dedicated at our church yesterday, and we just had Jamie, shout out to Jamie if you watch this, just came for our child dedication and snapped some pictures and then went to church with us. It was like just an amazing day, and I just love being able to connect with people all over like that. It's such a gift.
Yeah, no, it's a really great community. Yeah, no, I wasn't basically I made this profile like mostly for like, I started off as business, just like, promoting my services and all. But then I started getting like followers who weren't Jewish. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I don't know why they would follow me, but like, okay. And then I don't know, it's just like, I don't know, it's really, I love meeting people from different backgrounds, different religions and cultures and all that. So it's been a really nice experience for me, like a eye-opening one, I would say.
Yeah, same here, man. I think it's neat to learn. All I knew about Judaism, to be honest, is I had two of my favorite cousins married Jewish men. And guys, I'm gonna tell you, if you've never been to a Jewish wedding, do whatever it takes to get to a Jewish wedding. They are amazing. They're so much fun. Breaking the
Yeah.
glass, hoisting it up on the chair. It's the coolest experience.
Yeah, it's a very fun.
Yeah, but it's neat to me to get to talk about different types of faiths and religions and learn and really, trying to understand where other people are coming from. And, I think we're all connected. If I'm going to be mean to you, I'm essentially being mean to myself, because I think we're all connected in a way, and
Yeah.
Twitter's taught me that a lot.
Yeah, it's also very inspiring to like see people overcome problems that maybe I haven't dealt with, but like it's just like seeing them like bounce back. Because like sometimes I see people like talk about like overcoming like drug abuse, let's say, and I'm like, I don't know how I would like get over that. Like I can't even imagine that. So
Yeah,
that kind
you
of,
can. Yeah, I agree with you, man. It's cool to see everybody's outside perspective. Well,
for
let's
sure.
talk a little bit about like your clients, your day-to-day life. What's that look like now? And when did you actually become a coach and start coaching guys?
So I decided to start studying to become a coach. I got certified through the American College of Sports and Medicine, or the ACS or ACSM. I started like, what was it, like October, September 2019. I got certified in January 2020, right before Corona, unfortunately. So basically,
Really good timing.
good timing, I know. So I started off with like, I had like 4 in-person clients. I was like, okay, this is going pretty well. Then Corona hit and I couldn't meet with anyone. So I had to like kind of go back to the drawing board. And so I decided to go online, and I hired a business coach, and she was really wonderful and to help me like get myself off the ground and get my first clients and all that. So that's been great. Generally, I get guys who are just like have never really worked out before. And they see what I went through, and I talk about it all the time about how the mental and physical transformation, all that. And they're just like, oh, I want that too. So, I teach them everything about nutrition, like counting calories and macronutrients and all that, how to do, the workouts with proper form. Um, yeah, and thank God, they make great progress. And, I always notice, like, whenever I have like video calls with them, compared to like the beginning, by the end, they're just like smiling much more. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, when you get to even play a small part of seeing a transformation like that, there's no better feeling in the world, man. And that's
Great.
something
Yeah.
that it radiates through you when you talk about it a little bit of just, watching a client start here. And look, who doesn't want more energy? Who doesn't want to feel better? Who doesn't want to wake up with more vigor and excitement and joy? Who doesn't want to look better? It's like all these things, man. And for you to be able to play a part in that is so neat, man. And that's got to
Oh
be very
yeah.
fulfilling day to day,
Oh
right?
yeah. It's like, I'm like so happy I did this. I was working like a 9 to 5 job basically before, like a corporate job. And yeah, but like, unlike in America, it's actually not 9 to 5. We work 4 p.m. to midnight for American companies because of the time difference.
Wow. Okay.
So I was doing that for a while, and I was like, wow, this is horrendous. I'm not a night person at all. Like, I'm way more of a morning person. So I was getting back to my apartment by like 12:30 or 1, and I was just like, yeah, it
That'd
was
be a rough
horrible.
schedule. So then you're trying to be in sleep by like 2 and then wake up at 10, something like that. That would be
I
a
can't
rough.
remember. I think I was like asleep by 1 or something, and then I would get up at like 8 or so. So
Okay. Yeah.
um yeah, but even then I was still like getting to the gym in the morning, even though I just want to like chill out and do nothing until
Yeah.
the afternoon when work started. But yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. And well, one thing too, you mentioned I want to go back to is, you said when you were at kind of a low point, you reached out and hired a coach to get you, learn nutrition and fitness. And then when you were starting your business, you reached out and hired a coach to kind of help you get that scaled. And I think so many people are unwilling to reach out for help, and they just think, I can do it all on my own. And maybe you can, but I look back, man, 20 years ago, I hired a poker coach who
Mhm.
literally I spent $500, and now the amount of money I'm up in poker is insane because of what that coach unlocked in my brain, and a couple of years ago, I hired Zach Hommel as my life coach and business coach to help me kind of go, and what that probably shaved 10 years off my progress, and so can you
Yeah.
kind of talk about, what that meant to you and the coaching, and then now how you kind of get to pay that forward?
So for fitness coaching, the guy I hired, it was just for in-person workouts. Like I said, the nutritional aspect I just did on my own, basically, or just like figured out on my own. But the workouts were great because before that, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know how many reps I was supposed to do, or like how long to wait between sets or anything. So he just, did that all for me, and I picked it up from him, which was really helpful. When it came to business, I was just like, I have no idea how to sell. I don't even like I have this program, but like I don't even know, how to sell it basically, or how to market it and all these other things. So I found a business coach through a friend of mine who's also a personal trainer, and yeah, I hired her. And I remember when I paid her, I had like an anxiety attack that night because I was just like, oh my gosh, what did I do? What if this doesn't work, etc. But thank God it's took some time, but it ended up working out in the end. So
That's amazing, man. Yeah, I'll never forget the night my wife and I were on a walk, and I told her, like, yeah, I'm gonna pay this guy $1,500. He lives in Indiana. He's a former coal miner. His name's Zach. He's gonna teach me how to do something. Like, thank
it's
God
just
my
like,
wife was really
what?
supportive. Okay, whatever you feel like you need to do. But yeah, I mean, looking back, it's the greatest decision of my life. That, like, if
For
somebody's already
sure.
gone through that, and what's probably gonna happen, what happened for me is a lot of the mistakes that Zach made along his 8-year journey, I got
Mhm.
to avoid because he taught me how to avoid those mistakes, and that's worth a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of
Oh,
wasted.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally agree. Like, if you're whatever you're trying to change in your life, hiring a coach is really going to help you in the long run.
Yeah, I agree, man. 100%. Well, can I ask you a question? Because I've been wondering this now for like a half an hour. We've been chatting. Is
Go ahead.
is fitness really big in Israel? Are there gyms everywhere? Is it like culture of fitness? Because I've never been. I really want to go, but
Oh, it's yeah, no, there's definitely a culture around it because basically Israeli Israeli like teenagers, like when they're 18, they go into the army, and the army, you have to work out, you have to be fit. Like there's really no way around it.
Okay.
I wasn't in the army personally, but a lot of my friends tell me like, yeah, it's exhausting, and it's all that. So by the time they're out, they're already like in better shape. So they're like, oh, might as well like stay like this.
Once you start and you see that you feel better and you look better, you usually don't want to go back, right?
Yeah. I don't know what like the obesity rate is. It's definitely much lower than America's, but
Everywhere is just lower than America's, I think.
yeah. But yeah, there's like workout parks everywhere. So
Wow.
there's definitely a culture. But there's like basically Americans are immigrating, or American Jews are immigrating to Israel like en masse, basically. Like there's like tons of people like immigrating here every year, like thousands, I think. I don't know the exact numbers, so, but with that comes like, the American like obesity and stuff. So I tend to get like American clients.
Mm.
And like I don't think I've only had like one Israeli client basically.
Mm. So okay, when you're 18 in Israel, if you're a man or a woman, you go to the army for 2 years?
Yeah.
That's
I
mandatory?
think it's like 3 years,
3 years?
I think.
Okay.
Like I said, I wasn't in the army, so I might
Yeah.
be
But
wrong
then
about
part
this,
of
but I
that
think,
is PT and you probably have to get in shape, like you said. So there is
yeah,
more.
like things like, again, I don't know like every position in the army, but I know you have to go through like basic training, to,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know beyond that how like physically intensive it is. I'm sure it's like fairly intensive, but
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense then, because I have a couple other buddies live in Israel and they're very fit too. And I always kind of wondered, is it just a culture? Like, because you see some cultures like value certain things more
yeah.
than others.
Yeah, so I can only speak from like an American perspective living in Israel, but like I would say that's like decently embedded into the culture. Not so much among Americans, but definitely among like Israelis. Yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, man, I think Americans are just we're like one of the first cultures in history that's eating ourselves to death, man. It's just
I
their
know, it's
food is just
crazy.
yeah. I wish some leader, somebody would step up and kind of attack this, but it seems
I
like you
agree.
almost
Yeah.
get attacked if you're speaking on it and you're not kind of following I
Yeah.
don't
Like
know,
I
medicine.
like I one time did a post like I tried to be like as polite as possible, attacking, or I don't know about attacking, but criticizing the fat acceptance movement, and I had like four people saying like, this is really like, this is really mean, and like this is like, this is like I don't know, like people who are overweight are going to see this and feel like crap, and I'm like, look, I'm just stating facts basically. It's like,
Yeah.
it's just really sad to me to that like we can't even talk about this like honestly and openly.
That's the thing that kind of hurts me a little bit too, man, is there's people I love and I'm going to love you. I don't care if you're 700 pounds, man. I'm going to
Yeah,
love you.
same
I'm going to
here. I'm
meet you where
not,
you're
but
at.
it
I'm not going to
doesn't,
judge you, but I want to
yeah,
help you
and
because look, it's just a fact that you're going to live shorter amount of time on this earth. Your
mhm.
quality of life is not going to be as good. You have a much higher chance of disease, all these terrible things. And like, I just love people enough that I want to be like, look, it's better on this side. Just, it's not as hard
Yeah,
as you would
I
think to
would, I wish,
eat
I
real
would, I
food.
would, yeah, I wish that they could go like a week in a fit body and just like know what that's like and be like, oh, I want this, and then
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
work towards it. But
And I do think
um,
people think it's this like complex thing, right? And that's why I think it's important for guys like you to kind of show people
yeah, that's,
it's not.
I, yeah, no, I thought it was going to be like super complex, and like there's definitely things to learn, obviously, but it's not quite as complex as people make it out to be.
Yeah.
It's just complex because like I said, when I started there, it's like this guy's saying one thing, this guy's saying another thing. Like, who do I listen to?
Yeah.
So it's just a little confusing, but you just have to explore and find what works best for you.
Yeah, exactly, man. Well, I appreciate you sharing that, man. Well, Yakov, I don't want to take too much of your time. I appreciate you coming on too, because isn't it like 10 o'clock there at night or something, man? It's pretty late, isn't it?
It's like 8:40. So
Oh, okay. So you're still good. Well, if you're like me, I'm starting to wind down at 8:40, but I got a few kids here, man. So it's a little different. But I always end every pod, man, with 5 rapid fire questions. Are you up for this? I'm just gonna ask 5 questions. First thing that comes to your mind, man, hit us with it. All right.
all right.
All right. Excluding like religious texts or the Bible or anything, what's the most impactful book you've ever read or your favorite book?
I would say I'm looking at it right up here. It's called Bigger, Leaner, Stronger by Michael Matthews, because it really like, that's where I got the best information about learning how to lean down and counting calories and all that, and it was the best book to learn nutrition and stuff.
That's awesome, man. Did you read that then several years back when you were kind of really diving into that nutrition?
Yeah, I still reread it every once in a while to just like remind myself of.
I got a few books like that too that I always go back. Atomic Habits is one for me. I reread it like every year, man.
I need to read that.
Bro, you have not read that book? All right, you got to read that.
I keep hearing about it. I keep like, I'm going to order it off of Amazon or whatever.
I'll tell you this too. It's a game changer to help a lot of your clients. Like you'll find a bunch of pieces of information in there that will help them, just little cues and habits to stay more on track. So I think you got to read that one, man.
All right.
Next one.
I'll order it right after this.
I like it. What's your favorite exercise to do in the gym?
I love like anything bicep. So like bicep curls, barbell curls.
Curls for the girls. Curls for the girls, baby. I call it Frat Boy Friday because I go in, you get the arm pumped, you walk out of there feeling real swole, man.
I will now be calling it Frat Boy Friday.
I like it, man. Number 3, what is your favorite movie of all time?
I'll be honest, I'm really not a movie connoisseur. So
okay, favorite TV show.
Same with TV shows.
Yeah, I haven't watched TV in like 30 months. So all right, let me think of a new one off the top of my head. We'll go to number 4. I'll come back to that one. What's the biggest difference you see in kind of culture and life growing up in the States versus living in Israel now?
In Israel, people are much more aggressive. Like I don't know if aggressive is the word, but like they're just like, yeah, I'm gonna get what I want, and like screw you, whatever. which is like it's really funny to watch. It's like where it's like not so much now, but like I used to be much more passive, and like so it's like kind of funny like seeing Israelis like like I don't know. It's hard to explain, but
there's a lot more aggressive, like go get what they want.
Yeah.
Lifestyle.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They're much more like, yeah, I'm gonna go get what I want, basically.
I like that, man. That's funny. Number 5, future plans and where can people find you on all your social media? And by the way, guys, I'm going to link everything Yaakov does below on his Twitter, his Facebook, and other stuff. But if there's other areas we can find you, let us know, my man.
Yeah, Instagram also. But my future plan is just keep developing my business, get more clients, and my goal is to make enough money that my future wife will not have to work unless she wants to.
I like that, man. That's a great goal. All right, I'm gonna ask the other question. And since the movie didn't work out, are you currently seeing any ladies, any love prospects on the table or not?
Not really. I've been dating here and there, but no. Just.
All right, I have checked the demographics of my YouTube channel, and we are like 90% male. But hey, 10% of you ladies, if you're not taken, reach out to my boy here. maybe we'll start a new channel, a Love Connection channel. I'll bring on all my trainer friends, and we can go that route, man. But I really appreciate you coming on today, brother, and sharing and really openly. If there's maybe one piece of advice you could give somebody who maybe was, sort of stuck, or how you were kind of feeling before you got into fitness and faith and religion, what piece of advice would you give somebody like that?
I would say one is that it's totally okay to take your life in a new direction. So if you're not happy, sometimes you have to break yourself down and build yourself back up. And that's totally fine. And there's a huge community of people who are, waiting to hear about your story and cheer you on the whole way.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Most of those boxes we put ourselves in are self-imposed. You don't have to stay in that box. You can free yourself anytime.
You're never closed off in your box. You can leave whenever you want.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I appreciate you sharing that. Well, dude, Yaakov, it's been a pleasure chatting with you, man. Maybe we can get you back on here at some point too. Keep growing your business. Keep doing your thing, brother. Keep inspiring people every day. And,
thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you, man. Well, everybody out there listening, man, thank you guys. It's been Tyromper's No Limit Podcast, episode number 28, featuring the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Yaakov. Again, ladies, if you're single, reach out, shoot him a DM. Everybody else, if you want coaching, just reach out, hit this man up. He definitely knows his stuff. I love following him on Twitter, love following him on Facebook, watch his journey as well on Instagram too. And you know what, guys, go be kind to everybody you encounter today. Be kind to yourself, especially. Do some things that'll make your future self proud. Let's go change the world with love, kindness, and have the greatest day of your lives, guys. Have the best one, and thanks for tuning in.